Hi, I'm Gary White for Channel 6, Central Kentucky Television, and I'm here with Juanita Heron at the Marion County Extension Office. And today, we are going to make something festive because it's the holiday season.
It is holiday season. Can you believe that, Gary?
I know.
I think you and I just discussed that. We just had Thanksgiving, right?
Exactly. Thanksgiving was so late this year that,
Correct.
it's like Christmas is just right upon us.
I know. And Christmas is always a fun time, right? It's
Yes.
fun. It's festive. And you and I are kind of like Christmassy today,
Exactly.
you know? But it is a fun time. But we are going to make a dish that a lot of times we think of a lot of salads during the holiday time. And we usually think of reds, greens, those type of things. Again, we're using one of the University of Kentucky plated up recipes. And we use these. And Gary, we're going to use one of the plated up cards, which some of the recipes are. And I really like, I think you and I have discussed this before, these cards are wonderful because they've got all the information about the dish that we're making, plus on the back it's got a lot of seasonal and other nutritional information too.
That's great.
So, and we do have these here at the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. We're located on 416 Fairgrounds Road. If you all need one, we have this one, and then we have a plentiful, I say, supply of other recipes too. Okay?
That's great. And today it's apple cranberry
Waldorf salad. Don't that sound like the holidays?
Yes.
Okay. And you can see on our card it's got a big red apple on it. And Gary and I do have a red apple here. Well, the ingredients calls for 1 cup of chopped Granny Smith apples. And I'm going to use just my small one right here to show. We've already cut the Granny Smith. I had to do some using an apple core, and I had to have Gary's assistance because Granny Smith's apples are a little hard, aren't they? They're very hard.
Absolutely.
So we're going to use 1 cup of Granny Smith apples chopped. We're also going to use 1 cup of a Red Delicious apple. We've got those. We're going to chop those up. We're going to use 1 cup of celery, which we've already chopped it up, you can see. We're going to use 1 cup of half seedless green grapes, and we're also going to use a cup of our red grapes, and we're just going to cut those. It says to have them, but you can tell our grapes are pretty good size, so Gary, we might have to do 1/3 of those, possibly. Okay. And then we're going to use dried cranberries. You ever eat a lot of dried cranberries, Gary?
I have had dried cranberries.
Well,
I've had cranberries. I guess they're dry.
They're dry. They're dry. You know, this is one of our
like
little superfoods. Yes. they're kind of a superfood. They are very, this has no artificial color, flavor, or preservatives. So this is going to be one of those super good fruits for us.
Right.
We know that cranberries do have sugar in them. Any of our fruits have natural sugar, and when you're using a dried fruit, that sugar content is even a little higher. So, you know, if you're a diabetic, you kind of need to watch that.
Okay.
So we are going to use 1 1/2 cups of the dried cranberries.
Did you say, so when you dry them, they're even higher in sugar?
Yes, the sugar contents is even higher. So that a lot of times that's when you see, when we are to eat fruit every day, our equivalent for that by my plate is 2 cups of fruit a day. Okay. So a serving for the cranberries or any dried fruit is about 1/4. So, you know, that 1/4 is about the size of your hand. That's not very many, is it?
Yeah,
no. So, but it has, the sugar contents is higher there, okay? Then we're going to use 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts, which we are using some walnuts in this salad this morning. When we do programs here at the Extension Office, a lot of times, if the recipe is calling for a nut, we do not use nuts because of the nut allergy. So you want to make sure that when you're going to make this dish, if anybody has a nut allergy, it could be something that you might want to omit, okay? But we're going to use them today because walnuts are a nut always gives a good festive flavor, I think.
Right.
Then we're going to use some yogurt. It says for an 8-ounce non-fat vanilla yogurt. And then we're going to use 2 tablespoons of honey and then 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. So that's not hard at all. We've got all of our ingredients. The direction says to combine chopped apples, dice celery, and put them in a medium bowl. Then we're going to add our grapes and our cranberries and our walnuts to the mixture. We're just going to mix that up. And then we're going to take our honey, our cinnamon, and our yogurt. We're going to put that, and then we're just going to pour over our fruit.
Okay.
And then that is going to be our apple cranberry Waldorf salad.
Fantastic.
So we are ready to get started, right?
Yes.
And this recipe yields 8 1-cup servings, and it's about 210 calories. So that's not a lot, not bad at all. Mm-mm. So Gary, you make sure that I'm saying straight here. I am going to start with my apples, and you all out there can see we've already cut the red ones up, and we were doing that trying to get prior. I should have put them in some little vinegar water. I could have done that. Not vinegar, I'm sorry, lemon water, excuse me, this morning, and they would not have turned. But I didn't think they would turn that fast. But they'll be fine, right?
They'll be fine. They still have good flavor.
Yes. So, Gary, I'm just going to take it and go clean it up just a tad.
It's over here.
Okay. And you think there's a right way to cut an apple or a wrong way?
As long as you don't cut your fingers.
As long as you don't cut your fingers, you got it. So we're going to, it said for 1 cup.
Right.
So we're just going to.
Yes. So we have 1 cup of chopped red delicious apples. Now, also on the back of your cards, which are really interesting, tells you about Kentucky apples. Their season is early summer through December.
Correct.
So we're still in season.
We are still in season. That's exactly right. And a lot of times around the holiday season, I think people still do it. A lot of times they will have a lot of fruit during the holidays, and even some facilities will even hand out some fruit as a little gift.
Right.
We have fruit baskets and fruit cakes. I knew you was going to put that cake in there, Gary. Do you like fruit cake?
Honestly, I don't know that I've ever had it because I just don't know. Do you?
Yes, some fruit cakes I do. There's some that I have not liked, but
they're very dense.
They are very dense.
Yeah.
But
is apple a fruit that's usually in fruit cake?
I think it has a lot of dried fruit in it.
That's a lot of sugar then.
Lots of sugar. That's right.
Something I learned for the day.
One of our secretaries up front, her brother and his wife makes one of the best fruit cakes I've ever eaten.
Okay.
And it is a no-bake fruit cake. And it has that good sweetened condensed milk in it. So it's going to be good, right?
Tasty.
Tasty, very tasty. It doesn't take long. We might even have, just going to take my hand. We've almost got a cup.
Good job.
Okay, I'm going to add just a tad more, Gary, to make sure.
Okay.
And, like you said, apples are in season.
Right.
And, not only eating the apple, which is very good for us, and you notice we're leaving the peel on this too, right?
Yes.
Okay, wonder why we're going to leave the peel on that for.
Color.
What color? But not only color, the peel has a lot of fiber in it too. So it's very good for our diet also.
Right.
So,
Very good.
Yeah.
It says there are more than 2,500 varieties of apples found in the United States. And in Kentucky, you can find the Lodi Red Delicious, Rome, Winesap, Gala, Jonathan, Cortland, and Golden Delicious. What's your favorite?
Yellow Golden Delicious.
Okay.
That's my favorite. We set out a new variety of some trees a couple of years ago. And we had to take up all of our fruit trees because a few years ago when the ice storm hit, we lost a lot of it. So we just took everything down and got new. And we got just a few apples from last year on them. So I'm hoping this year it'll even be better, right?
There's our cup of Red Delicious.
Red Delicious. So And it is fruit. We're not going to cross-contaminate, so we're just going to go ahead and cut up our Granny Smith.
Right, because now we get 1 cup of chopped Granny Smith apples.
Now,
which have not turned as quickly.
It hasn't, you know. But now you can notice, Gary, if the people can see, they're just a little harder to cut too, aren't they?
They're solid.
They're solid. Do you like Granny Smith apples? Yeah,
I wouldn't like to just eat a Granny Smith apple.
I don't either like to eat just a Granny Smith apple either.
But like an apple pie or something like that.
Yes, you know when you're going to make a pie, you need it. There you go, Gary.
It's good.
But a tart apple, when you're making those things, are much better to use than they are the real softer or the sweeter apples. So.
Right. Yes. But I like Red Delicious as well. Golden Delicious or something like that.
An apple, and I think that's kind of, you know, you're talking about Kentucky apples. That's kind of a little staple food, don't you think too? But you know, if you go to the grocery store, like you said, you named just some of them, and you go to the grocery store, there are a variety, and even we live here in a small town, we have a good variety of apples here at our local grocery stores.
Right.
So.
Yes. Yeah, because like I do like I think it's the Gala.
Gala?
What's the yellow and red? It's wine.
That wine sap? No.
Something else.
Honeycrisp.
Honeycrisp.
Honeycrisp. Oh, yes. Well, you bite into that and the juice.
Yeah.
It's very juicy, isn't it?
Yeah, I like them too. So if I was just going to eat an apple, that's what I like to.
Apple a day keeps the doctor away, right?
They say.
That's what they say. You know, the older I'm getting, I think I need to eat more than 1 apple a day. You know, apples is a very good fruit to eat. You know, I have to say, Gary, I like apples, but a banana is my favorite. That's my favorite fruit, you know.
It's your potassium.
I know, I love bananas.
Yeah. I like bananas mixed in salads and stuff as well. But they're good.
They are good.
And I do like grapes. So we're having grapes.
We're going to use some grapes.
Stuff here.
Yes.
And I do like nuts, actually, too.
Okay.
Which is good.
You're working with a nut this morning, right?
My favorite nut here.
Excuse me. I got to coughing after I made that little statement to Gary.
See what happens?
But I know. But you know, all fruit is very good, and we are finding out that we do not get enough fruit in our diet. It has been proven that here we do not get enough fruit in our daily diet. You know, 2 cups. Now, 2 cups is not enough, not much fruit right there. Because you can see we've got 1 cup of our red apples, and we're just about to get a cup of our Granny Smith apples. Now, if I had eaten this already this morning, I would have my 2 cups of my fruit. And can I just add this little tidbit since we're talking about fruit? I'm going to add just a tad more. To get your fruit equivalent, you want to make sure, a lot of times people say, okay, I'm just going to drink some fruit juice. Fruit juice is good if it's 100% juice. You know, we have a lot of things out there now that does not have, they're not 100% juice. They might only contain 10% juice. But to make sure that you're getting it, it needs to be 100% juice, Gary. Okay? So we have got our 1 cup of apples. All right, I'm going to let you put that in there.
Okay. I'm going to mix that in there.
Okay. And I have just got
throwing
them at us this morning.
I know. Okay.
Okay. Now, again, I'm going to use my same cutting board just because
it's fruit.
It's fruit. It's fruit. Now, we're going to use these great big old grapes. And when I purchased these grapes yesterday, they didn't look this way on the end, so we're going to clip those ends. So, how much grapes do we need, Gary?
1 cup halved seedless green and 1 cup halved seedless red grapes.
I tell you what, that would be a half. That's pretty good size, though, isn't it? So you know what? I think we might just even quarter that. Don't you think that might look better? So we're just gonna quarter these, and it depends. Like, you know, we've got some pretty large grapes here. Now, do you have a preference of grapes?
Color of grapes?
Color of grapes.
No.
You know,
I like the big juicy ones.
You like them sweet, right? Okay. All right. Do you ever do that at the grocery store?
Was I not supposed to do that?
I know. But you know, there is a variety of grapes now. I don't know if this summer they've had them at our local grocery stores. They've got those big purple moon drop grapes.
Okay.
And they taste just like a grape, but they were very sweet, you know. And it was just the variety. My mother used to grow grapes. I've never had a grape harbor at my house.
I grew up on the back of our house. We had a grape arbor, and my mom used to make grape jelly from it. And they were purple. I don't know what
they were. Yeah, and they were probably a little
purple.
smaller.
Yeah, they were small, purple.
And they were good, though, weren't they, Gary?
Yeah, and they were good for the jelly that she was making.
Yeah, you can hear we're talking about all this sugar this morning, right? But they're just a good variety of grapes, and there's different ones that we do. And our local grocery stores, they do have a good variety of the grapes. I only needed about a cup, and you've seen I had to buy several grapes. You know, but grapes is something, you know, we think of that for the holidays too, Gary. We think of apples and grapes and bananas and oranges and all of those things. And the thing about it, you said the apples are in season, correct?
Right, yep. Apples are in season.
They're in season.
And they're in season here in Kentucky.
Yes, and let me just say this, a little tidbit. Right now, around the holidays to about the end of January or so, also grapefruits will come in season. That's when they're at their peak. And if you try those, good old ruby red grapefruits, they are very sweet. You know, a lot of times people think with the grapefruit that they're always sour, but that is kind of the peak. Of course, we don't grow any grapefruits around here. Okay, Gary, I think we've got about a cup of our red.
I'll put that in.
So we're going to do some of our yellow today.
Okay.
Or green, rather. How do you like this cutting board I'm cutting on? I'm telling you, all of these nice fruits and vegetables on it. I'll show the people when we get through cutting, Gary. It just makes you, makes your fruit and all just...
Makes you hungry.
Makes you hungry. It is getting close to lunch, right, Gary?
Yeah, for some greens. Yes. And they're saying for the Kentucky apples that we were talking about, a medium-sized apple, which is about 2 to 2.5 inches round, is about 75 calories and provides bulk in the diet, which helps the body digest.
Right. And you were talking about that 2.5-inch diameter. If you just hold up your hand like that, Gary, that's about the size if it fits in your hand. And at the local grocery stores, you will see them a lot of times. They call those school-size apples.
Okay.
And they're a little bit smaller.
Lunchbox.
Yeah, lunchbox, that's it. And, you know, because a lot of times people do not want a very large apple.
Right.
Probably if they were fixing their children's lunch, they probably don't. And like I said, you all can see maybe some of the ends on these grapes have turned just a tad here, and I'm just barely clipping that off.
Yeah. But as you can see, we have the red and the green in the apples and in the grapes. So we're getting the Christmas colors, the traditional Christmas colors.
Exactly.
In both areas there, which is nice as well. It's helping create like a good feel for everything there.
You know, we live in a society that we eat food for our feelings, right? And you know, the holidays times is always a festive time, a warm feeling when you're with families and friends. So, and then we're just making our food. Well, we're just getting right in the spirit right here.
Absolutely.
Gary?
Absolutely.
Okay, I think we've almost got this one.
And so far we've done 1 cup of chopped Granny Smith apples, 1 cup of chopped Red Delicious apples.
I'm gonna put one more in there to make it full. You know, you always want to get it full, and you never get too much fruit. Remember?
That's right, exactly. 1 cup of halved seedless green grapes.
Okay.
And 1 cup of halved seedless red grapes. So that's what we have
there we've got our red and green. We've got it going on, right?
That's right.
And I want to show the audience our nice cutting board that we've been using.
Very nice.
Yes.
With your F-nap on there.
Yes, with the F-nap. That is what I do. That's part of mine. So now, Gary, we're getting a little sidetracked. You've got the card. We've got our, it says to chop the apples and the diced celery. And I've already diced the celery this morning.
Okay.
And we're going to put all of this in the bowl, and we're going to add, I'm going to go ahead and add my celery. So we've got more green.
Yep.
And then I need to add my cranberries and walnuts.
There's 1 cup of diced celery. Now we're going to do 1.5 cups of dried cranberries.
Cranberries. We're going to get some more of that red because we just added some more green, right? And with our celery, folks, I'm sorry I didn't measure it. I had pre-measured before. I apologize for that, okay? So when you get to cooking in the kitchen, Gary, a lot of times, I know that people are out there that cook all the time. You can almost eyeball things, right? Yeah. I'm sure you've heard your family say that many times, or you may also.
So this is 1.5 cups.
This is one. I got 1. I'm gonna let you pour that in, and I'll get me a half over here.
And we have that going in there. See all the different colors, looking nice.
You know, a lot of our recipes in the past have just called for raisins. And now we've got cranberries, we've got the craisins, we've got
cranberry raisins.
All of those. Dried blueberries. Have you tried any dried blueberries?
I love blueberries, but I've never had them dried.
We'll let you put that one in there.
I'm aware. Okay.
And now we're getting very colorful, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we need to put our walnuts in there.
Walnuts.
Now, and it calls for 1/2 cup walnuts. Again, I want to caution you all out there. If somebody's allergic to nuts, please don't put them in there, okay? You're not allergic to nuts today, right? I'm not either. So this, the walnut, I've got 1/2 cup, but what I did, Gary, the 1/2 cup was in the package that I bought. If you'll look at your packaging when you're purchasing walnuts, it'll say 1/2 cup or a cup or whatever. So I only bought 1/2 cup. So I'm just gonna throw my nuts.
That's even easier.
And they said halves and pieces, and I chopped them a little bit more before you came, Gary. Okay. Now, is that looking colorful or not?
Absolutely. It looks great. Very nice.
It looks very nice.
Very, very nice.
You know, I always think in years past, my grandmother, you know, we always went there for Christmas, and she always made a fruit salad. We always had fruit salad at her house. Okay. So we have all of these ingredients. We've got our apples, celery, grapes, our walnuts, and our dried cranberries. So we're going to add our yogurt. Now, I only bought this small container. It says 8 ounces, right?
8 ounce.
8 ounce non-fat. So this one only come in 6 ounces. Trust me, we're going to have enough. Okay. If you're like me, if you like a lot of yogurt, I can buy the big thing of yogurt and use it. But for those people out there, this one little container will be sufficient. Okay.
And that's non-fat vanilla yogurt.
We're using a light. But this one is very vanilla. And the reason I got very vanilla because it's just got a hint of vanilla, you know, and it calls for plain. But don't do strawberries or anything like that. But just do a very vanilla. Okay, all right, Gary, what else do I need?
2 tablespoons of honey.
Honey. That will be good, won't it?
Absolutely.
You know, our fruit's already got sugar in it, and here we're going to add some more, right?
If we have to.
Gary said that'll be just fine.
Exactly.
I'm going to use my little honey.
And there'll be 2 tablespoons.
Oh, he's got me on track. He is making sure I'm getting the right amount.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd hurt if we added a little bit more?
No.
Well, you answered that one quick, Gary.
Although, could you use the honey yogurt, too? You know, some yogurts have honey.
It does. They even have a honey flavoring in them.
Yeah, the honey flavor.
You know, I wondered if you could, Gary. You know, sometimes we just have to experiment yeah. But, you know, we're going by the recipe today, from the University of Kentucky. That's what they have, this plated up recipe.
That's what they're telling us to do.
I know. You know, I want to try to go by the book today. Okay. And they are very good recipes, you know, that we see all of the information that we have on there.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So we have our honey and our yogurt in
Okay.
there.
Now what do we need, Gary?
A 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon.
Cinnamon. And you know, cinnamon and the holidays, they just go together, don't you?
Absolutely.
Don't you think so?
Yes.
Okay, 1/4 of a teaspoon. All right, I've got my little handy dandy measuring spoon, tablespoon, teaspoon. On the back is a 1/2 and a 1/4. So Gary said I didn't need but a 1/4.
Well, yeah. A little bit of cinnamon can go a long way.
Long way, that's right. And you notice I bring it over here because you know what happens sometimes.
Yeah.
When we are measuring out, what happens? We just might dump a little bit more. And you don't want it overpowering, right?
No.
Now, we're just going to mix this up. Can you smell that cinnamon, Gary?
I can. It smells good.
It smells good, doesn't it?
You get sniff-o-vision.
Sniff-o-vision. Okay. So we're just mixing
too.
our yogurt,
Yep.
our honey, and our cinnamon. Now, I think now we're just ready to drizzle over it. And then we'll just mix it up.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
And again, this is the apple cranberry Waldorf salad. I'm just going to read for you what's in there.
Okay.
It is the cup of chopped Granny Smith apples, a cup of chopped Red Delicious apples, a cup of diced celery, a cup of halved seedless green grapes, and a cup of halved seedless red grapes, 1.5 cups of dried cranberries, and a 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts. And then for the dressing, it was an 8-ounce or 6-ounce
Yes.
non-fat vanilla yogurt, 2 tablespoons of honey, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. All mixed together.
And you can see, like when our apples was wanting to turn just a tad, that you can't see any of that. And you can notice that we only use the 6 ounces. Gary, we have plenty of our dressing on there.
Yeah.
Sometimes we like to overpower everything with a dressing, don't you think?
Yes.
And of course, it would really be great if you would, make it up if you're going to use it for lunch, let it chill.
Absolutely.
I always like my fruit salad to chill just a tad. But this is something, and not only during the holidays, this is something that you could make all year long.
Absolutely. But it is nice and festive and colorful for the holidays.
It is, yeah. If y'all can see, it's all different colors here, and that we can make. And it is something, if you were making it at home, probably wouldn't take you quite as long as we made it. But it would be something that you could do, again, if you have children or grandchildren. They're soon going to be out for the holidays too. There might be some fun to have them to chop up some things with you.
Absolutely. And that's the apple cranberry Waldorf salad. And you can get your card from the Marion County Extension Office.
Exactly.
Or contact us and we'll get you a copy of it.
Yes. And we want everybody to have a good festive holiday, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And again, yes, for the holiday season, happy holidays from all of us.
Yes.
And thank you.
Holidays.
This has been Gary White with Juanita Herron at the Marion County Extension Office.